All right, we back, man. What?
Hey, as I'm watching the countdown, right, I'm like, man, what if it was the father will for us to come back?
Hey, stop, Joe. Stop, Joe. Why you stop, Joe? Here you, man. I'm done. I can't. Hey, this gonna be the first and the last I get on here with y'all boys, man.
Oh, all right. So
Okay, okay.
we back like we just didn't leave.
Car.
We got off. As soon as we got off, man. This dude Joe, Hebrew boy Joe, got something you want to say. Go ahead, man.
So we know the story. We know the story King David and Bathsheba, right?
Yeah.
So what if it was the father will for him to end up in falling and doing that, that sin and Solomon being birthed, Bathsheba being his mother, and Hamashiach Christ coming from that lineage of Solomon.
Yeah. That's wild.
So, so basically, in a nutshell, Joe saying, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, what if it wasn't a contingency plan?
Con. Alright,
Is that a? Can I word it like that, Joe? What if
con,
it wasn't a backup plan? You get what I'm saying?
con. Well, what
I
the
can word
scripture
it.
say?
That's safe. That's safe to say that.
Con, con. I say, what the scripture say, man? We don't believe in coincidence. We don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah. And
Cut.
so I told these boys, man, that that it didn't have to be that way. Okay. It happened like that. Solomon could have still came, from righteous seed, or whoever was going to build the temple of God, and Christ coming through this kingship or king lineage. It didn't have to be necessarily somebody named Solomon. But then again, and listen, I don't know if it says it's been written from the beginning.
Huh.
So it's just like, to me, I think we talked about this before. I talked about this with one of y'all, both of y'all maybe. It's like watching a movie and you still wishing that Kane not gonna die. You know what I'm saying? You still, oh no, what's his name? Ricky. You still wishing Ricky not gonna die, even
Mm.
though you know he gonna go down this corner, man. They gonna come through and Ricky gonna die, and you gonna hear Ricky. But even though you've seen this movie 100 times or 5 times, you still in your heart is wishing, even though you know this is already written and done, you still wishing that there can be a change. And you're wrapped into this.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what's going on with the father, where he already had this story's already written, and now he's actually looking into it. Or I was telling Nava the other day, what if it's something like he's the director and he has a vision of how he wants something to go. He has an idea of a movie, right? And in this movie, he wants this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. But ultimately, he wants the story to display love and repentance and change of heart. But what happens in the middle and what happens in between, it's up to the characters that are drafted and playing it. Like, for instance, I want it to be a funny movie. So I hired Kevin Hart. Now Kevin Hart can bring himself into it, but the movie's already written. We already know what's gonna happen. This person's gonna die in the end. This city's gonna blow up. This gonna happen. That's gonna happen. But in the personal dialogues, when Kevin Hart is doing his thing and making his facial expressions, that's his own free will. He can do that. But my will is this happens at the end.
Hmm.
Christ is gonna come.
I like that. I
No
like
matter what? But what happens up until that point is up to the characters. Now let's sit back and watch. You
I,
feel me?
I, I like that. 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 And that made me think about what I said earlier. When the Most High he's sitting back watching everything, but he just put his hand. Hold on, let me move this head.
Right.
Hold on, let me Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Wrench, huh? Since y'all like to throw wrenches in back rooms and all corners. So, as the direct, okay, y'all looking at, okay, that's the perspective, the vantage point as the director.
Uh,
But I'm looking at Abba as the person, as the writer, the one
right.
who hired the director, the one
Right.
who hired the actors because he knew specifically Kevin Hart. I need Kevin Hart crazy face looks because Dave Chappelle ain't that type of actor.
Right.
He ain't that type of comedian. So I specifically chose Kevin Hart because he gives those face looks that to get the message across instead of Dave Chappelle. Even though Dave Chappelle, quote unquote, is the #1 actor or comedian in the world.
Right.
I specifically chose Kevin Hart, Pharaoh, for this movie. So I'm looking at Alba more so not outside of the director, but the one who hired the director, who wrote the movie, and who understands what part of this scene needs who.
Facts. That's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah, that is. That is. That is.
Bro.
Take that wrench. Since y'all want to throw wrenches in that room, but I might go live and tell how Monty and Joe, what Joe did it today and Monty did me the other day, and then gonna hang up the phone. All praises though, man. For real. Because like I said, you know, we could be here talking about a lot of other things, man, but we here talking about the will of the Father. So all praises and all esteem to him.
Is there anything else that need to be said? I thought it was something else we said back there. I can't remember what it was. Abraham and Sarah and Hagar. So the other thing that was said was that, all right, we know, people out here, they can be trying to have children, and that it could be 5 years later they finally have a children. We got the decision of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar. So we got Abraham, who's very old. Sarah is very old. This whole life, they're children of the Most High, and they never have a baby. 90-some years for Sarah, bro. That's a long time. And so the Most High say, you're not gonna have a baby. Don't worry about it. Or Abraham is for sure. So Sarah's like, okay, well, maybe this is how it's gonna happen. Take Hagar. Now, looking at it, we like, okay, that was a mistake. They, what came from Hagar was a child of the flesh. He made a fleshly decision, right? He didn't wait on the Lord, or he moved based off what he thought may have happened, but that wasn't what the Father was saying. But even in that, the Father allowed, what's his name? Ishmael to come forth out of Hagar, like it seemed like almost immediately. So then, what I'm saying, even as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about how Sarah must have felt like, okay, so it was never me. It was him, it was never him, it was me. So I'm the barren one, I'm the one that can't have it, but his seed is good. Look, it just happened immediately, or however many years it took for Hagar. I'm just thinking about how she may have felt. But then also, the fact is, if this was a mistake, why did the Father allow Ishmael to come forth?
And not only that, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he could have made it where they did this, and then he just was like, "See, that wasn't the way. That's why he didn't have no baby." But instead, a whole baby come forth, who's another nation. Go ahead, though.
And I was gonna say, and not only that, but he made him a great nation too. And but what religion stems from that we know?
I think
Islam.
And look at how that's playing out now in the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The Father's will, like.
Bye, but y'all boy wild and not now. Y'all boy, y'all y'all. Hey, now that's a good point though. That's a good point. Okay, same as did Abraham know it was gonna be a ram in the thicket? Abraham's finna whack jet, bro.
Yeah.
Abraham was finna whack jet, bro. He didn't know nothing about. He ain't know Abraham's finna whack your boy. You feel me?
Okay, so now I got a question.
For the Father.
Now I got a question. Did the Father know that Abraham was gonna go through with
it? See, okay. Here's a controversial thing that I say. You know what I mean? Like I think I told Moray Monty this. With that, what's that scripture that say? This is just a belief for me. This it say now when Abba say now I know that you will serve. He told Abraham that now I know after Abraham was about to, sacrifice his son.
Yeah.
Now I know that you will. I don't look at that. I know it says that, but I don't look at it like that. I feel like that might have been a translator thing, but I honestly feel like that should be Now I know. Well, now Isaac knows, because if anybody's there who's gonna bear witness to what Abraham is doing, besides Abraham, I would already know Abraham ain't was gonna finna do that, in my opinion. But imagine Isaac bound up, sitting there looking at his dad finna do this. You get what I'm saying? For the will of the Father. I personally feel like that should say, now Isaac knows. You
Man,
get what I'm saying? But that's me.
That's good. I ain't never look at it like that. And that could really, like, the father could have been setting that up, not only, to give us an example of what's to come with Hamashiach, but I like how you said Isaac, to show Isaac how serious it is to have faith in the Father and walk in obedience to him.
That your daddy finna whack you.
Come on. Come on, man.
Your daddy finna whack you. If I go in here and get my kids and I tell my wife, like, hey, I'm finna, you know what I'm saying? I'll be back. And she look at me like, where you going? And I got my field knife. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Like, that'll be crazy. But I feel like if that situation touched anybody the most, it was Abraham and Isaac. You get what I'm saying? Because Abba already knew what time. He had the ram right there ready, sitting. And anybody know anything about a thicket, and rams are tough, bro. Rams are tough. They tend to get in and out of issues at will. You get what I'm saying? They're smart. So that ram was in that thicket that it couldn't leap. That ram was there. You know what I mean? So Isaac, if anything, that story to me, I personally feel like, I'm not saying that it is, but that story, instead of saying I know, because Abba already knows, it should say Isaac knows. Not Abba set the tone for Isaac from here on out, because without Isaac, everything after that, we could speculate, but Isaac is important to the whole story. Isaac is important to the whole story.
I know that would have planted a heavy seed in me. Like, dang, my father got
that
much faith. That much faith
Me
in
too.
the Heavenly Father that he's about to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me seek the Heavenly Father for myself.
Now you're gonna be intrigued. Like, what is it about him? What is it about this God that my father served that have him when, you know what I'm saying? In that time, it was a lot of gods around there. They was knowledgeable of Kemet, Egypt, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Amorites, Sumerians, all that stuff had gods. So what is it about so specific about this God that my father willing to kill me? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that changed Isaac's life forever, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, so you're saying, so now
my bad. I'm staying on this topic, and I'm thinking.
Go ahead. No, go ahead with it.
I just had this thought, because so many other people and nations, they were doing child sacrifices, like real life killing their kids for their false gods, right? And it's like showing the Father mercy, and that real life sparing Isaac, showing the mercy that he had, like that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Showing him that I am the great I am. I am the only true God. And ain't no real God gonna really push you to kill your own child.
Yeah.
And then with the ram, showing the mercy. Come on, man. Oh, crazy.
And the ram was there. You feel me?
It was already there. It was already set in stone. So could we say Hamashiach? That was already.
And then on top of that, what Monty, Moray, what book was it? Was it Jasher or one of them? It was either Jubilees or Jasher, I believe. Where it tells us, it gets in depth of the stories from when Abraham left his house with his old lady and the whole journey. It was all type of things that was trying to stop Abraham from doing this. A lake appeared, some random dude appeared, and you know what I'm saying, get thee behind me, Satan. You get what I'm saying? So they went, bro, that whole journey. We, in the 66, we kind of just see the Abraham, the story, the outline of it. You get what I'm saying? Jasher, whatever book that is, it tells it was a whole journey. When I say journey, like a lot of things that he could have, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what, this ain't right. People trying to talk him out of it on the way there. You get what I'm saying? But he still went through, was about to go through with it, So Isaac is seeing all this. Isaac is bearing witness to this lake appearing, to this man trying to talk him out of it. And they still walking until they get to this, and then here goes the ram. So this whole thing was, to me, is a big testimony for Isaac and Abraham. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So
Let me see if this is it right here. Let's see. Yeah, this is it right here. All right, so let's see where we can start. This is Joshua 23. Here it is. I'm gonna start right here, verse 25. And while Abraham was proceeding with his son Isaac along the road, Satan came and appeared to Abraham in the figure of a very aged man, humble and of a contrite spirit. And he approached Abraham and said to him, Art thou silly or brutish that thou goest to do this thing this day to thine only son? For God gave thee a son in thy latter days, in thy old age. And will thou go and slaughter him in this day because he committed no violence? And will thou cause the soul of thine only son to perish from the earth? Doest thou not know and understand that this thing cannot be from the Lord? For the Lord cannot do unto man such evil upon earth to say to him, Go slaughter thy child. This is supposedly saying Satan telling Abraham this, right? Imagine this. You heard from the father, bro. You know, people today be like, I gotta be mentally ill. This can't be the father. And here comes Satan right here playing on your emotions. But Abraham continued on. And Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan, who endeavored to draw him aside from the way of the Lord. But Abraham would not hearken to the voice of Satan, and Abraham rebuked him so that he went away. And Satan returned and came to Isaac, and he appeared unto Isaac in the figure of a young man, calmly and well favored. And he approached Isaac and said unto him, Doest thou not know and understand that thy old silly father bringeth to thee the slaughter this day for naught? Now therefore, my son, do not listen nor attend to him, for he is a silly old man, and let not thy precious soul and beautiful figure be lost from the earth. And Isaac heard this and said unto Abraham, Hast thou heard, my father, that which this man has spoken? Even thus has he spoken? And Abraham answered his son Isaac and said to him, Take heed of him and do not listen to his words, nor attend to him, for he is Satan, endeavoring to draw us aside this day from the commands of God. And Abraham still rebuked Satan. And Satan went from them. And seeing he could not prevail over them, he hid himself from them. And he went and passed before them in the road. And he transformed himself to a large brook of water in the road. And Abraham and Isaac and his two young men reached that place, and they saw a brook large and powerful as the mighty waters. And they entered the brook and passed through it. And the waters at first reached their legs. And they went deeper in the brook, and the waters reached up to their necks. And they were all terrified on account of the water. I mean, y'all gotta imagine this really happening, man. That's crazy.
In real time. This is a long day. This in the 66, it seemed like it happened like this. This is a long day, bro. This is a long day. You feel me? This is, and we ain't talking about they jumped in a whip. Right. These boys walking. These boys is walking. This is a long day.
Oh man. And his two young men reached that place and they saw a brook. Hold on, where am I at? Let me see. So they're terrified on account of the water. And while they were going over the brook, Abraham recognized that place and he knew that there was no water there before. And Abraham said to his son Isaac, Hey, I know this place in which there was no brook nor water. Now, therefore, it is this Satan who does all this to us, to draw us aside this day from the commands of God. And Abraham rebuked him and said unto him, The Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, be gone from us, for we go by the commands of the Most High. And Satan was terrified at the voice of Abraham, and he went away from them. And the place again became dry land as it was at first, man. That's wild, man.
That just pushed me to like give me more faith in my stance. And not only that, but like how we added the father, he moves his hand. Because really think about Isaac. Not only Isaac, you know, he at the point where he sees the father about to kill him, but this whole walk, it said Satan came to him as a man and said, You don't know what your father about to do to you? Man, don't listen to
elder,
your father.
a elder.
Come on.
He came to him as an elder.
And Isaac, he goes to his father and say, "Do you hear what this man is saying?" And Abraham tell him, "Man, don't worry about that. Like, he just trying to stop us from doing the will of the Father." As a kid, if I'm hearing this, I'm like, ho, what? And I just heard two other people. First, I heard an old man said, then I heard a young man. Both of them telling me that my father about to kill me. I'm gone. So really, the father not allowing fear to get in Isaac's heart in that whole situation, and still going along and doing his will.
Wow, that's
Like,
deep.
That's why I say that to me. That's why I say the testimony. I feel like it should say in its right. This is just me. I don't want to say like, you know what I'm saying, but that's why I feel like it should say this is Isaac. Now I know Isaac, or now Isaac knows. My bad. Now Isaac knows. You get what I'm saying? Because this was a big day for Isaac. You feel me? This was a big day for him. So that's why I honestly feel like it probably should say it. Now Isaac knows, because we know Abba knows everything. You feel me? So that's just why I say that, you know, personally.
Yeah.
But here we go. We still, this long day, this walking, old man, young man, brook appearing, you know what I'm saying? Neck high waters, and yet it's still a ram in the thicket.
Yeah, it's still a ram in the thicket.
It's still a ram in the thicket.
Now, question: could Abraham at any point gave up and believed Satan? Or are y'all trying to tell me that nope, it was gonna happen no matter what? Because then, if that's the case, do we really get to make? Well, I guess then we don't know when we get to make decisions, and we don't. But what do y'all think? Could he have been bewitched and got off the path?
I feel like, you know, and how the Most High, he does everything in order, and it's a set time for everything, right? So we see this happen later on in his life. We know that the father was talking to Abraham for the longest. So Abraham going through all these other situations that are building his faith up in the father, and the father saying, "All right, so I'm gonna put everything before this, so that when we get to this point, I already know that he's not going to turn away." That's how I see that.
So basically, you saying there's no way he could divert. You know, at this point in time, after mind you, because
like his faith was too strong. His faith was too strong at that point.
By that time, we talking about Isaac. We talking about Isaac now, right?
Yeah.
How old was she when she? How old is he now? Probably.
Isaac.
Yeah. But at this time, how much old would you say? Let's just say maybe 12.
Yeah.
No, at least starting age 11, maybe.
Yeah. I'll say maybe 12.
Okay. So by this time in Abraham's life, mind you, you know what I mean, he gotta be Sarah was 100 plus by this time, 99 plus, because she was 99 when she had him, right?
Yeah.
So we talking about by this time in Abraham's life, Abraham's faith was up there. We know Abraham because he did it. So we talk because Abba already was dealing with Abraham for at least maybe possibly 80 to how many years? At least 80, maybe 80 years. So he knew Abraham's faith was already there. You get what I'm saying? Because like this ain't like his introduction to Abraham, if that makes sense. So Abraham's faith was already there. Abba knew Abraham's faith was already there.
Hey, they say, some rabbi say, I'm gonna pull it up. Jay, listen, how old was Isaac when he went to be sacrificed? This dude said late 20s and 30s.
Oh damn! We talk, bro. Abraham's faith was definitely on point by then. In my book, Abraham's faith was what we talking about. This. That's why I say this I feel like that testimony was more for Isaac, because Abba already, testimony was more for Isaac, because Abraham seasoned.
Yeah,
he's seasoned by then. We talking about don't fought wars and all that, man. He's seasoned. We talking about don't left his daddy because his daddy was Abraham's season with the Most High. You feel me? So I think the testimony is more for Isaac
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah.
You know.
It's using Genesis 17. It says Genesis 17 tells us that Sarah was 90 years old when the Most High told Abraham she would conceive Isaac. And Genesis 23, 1-2 says she died at the age of 127. So Isaac could have not been more than 37 years old during the events. But then I guess in the and I haven't read the Josephus, but it says the antiquity of the Jews, according to rabbinic tradition, Isaac was 37 years old. The Ezra's commentary in Pentateuch, Genesis 22, 5-1. So that's deep, but yeah, I mean, y'all saying he was seasoned, you know what I'm saying? But the book also talk about people being taken because if they're here any longer, they're more liable to do wrong and go off the path. So even though he may have been, you know, let's say in this thing and he's seasoned, this is still his only son, fellas. He still only got one of these that he's now about to sacrifice. You understand? He ain't never been here before. So the faith in the Father, I would say, which I'm saying, you know, of course, we always looking at on two sides. But the other thing I would say is, I think the difference is he knew the Father's voice. He had a specific relationship with him where he could recognize when it was the Father speaking, and it was he had to discern too hard to know that this was Satan speaking. So he didn't question himself when like others may do today because he had this relationship with the Father. Like you said, he'd been talking to him for so long, he knew exactly who he was, and Satan couldn't disguise himself as anything else to throw the Father off or to throw Abraham off, you know what I'm saying, of what the Father had told him. So I think it's definitely because, you know what I'm saying, like it says, how will you know what's happening with this trumpet if this trumpet doesn't make a distinct sound? And the Father's voice was a distinct sound to Abraham. You know what time it was. You know what I'm saying? Just like, for instance, this whole time up into this path, the record is telling us that they're saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. This can't be the Father's will. Yet he gets to the place and the angel calls out and says, hey, don't do it. And he heard it that time. And then the man was over there. You see what I'm saying? It was a distinct sound. You know his Father's voice, man. All praise be to the Most High. What else y'all got, man?
I don't know. When we ain't going to no back room this time.
I say, I'm full. I'm full.
Yeah.
All right, come. Well, all praise to the Most High, man. I think we're gonna end it there. Unless y'all got any closing remarks.
Man. Just keep the commandments, man. Seek the Father in spirit and truth, man. Live righteously.
Hallelujah.
Another.
Hallelujah.
All praise to the Father.
All praise to the Most High, man. Shalom.
Shalom.